Welcome to another episode of Native Wings Like an Eagle Incorporated. My name is Melvin Battiest. I'm your host, and today I want to introduce you to Sarai Cook. And so stay tuned as we prepare our interview with her. Welcome to today's interview and podcast of Native Wings Like an Eagle Incorporated. Our guest today is Sarai Cook, and I want to give you a quick introduction of her. Sarai Cook is a passionate attorney and advocate who channels her personal experiences with adversity, including navigating foster care, juvenile justice, and prison systems, into her work as president of Six Directions Law, PLLC. With a law degree earned in 2011, she has built a career focused on trauma-informed services and empowerment, working in community development and public service with the Muskogee Nation, the U.S. Department of Energy, and internationally. Sarai is dedicated to inspiring others to overcome obstacles and pursue their dreams, no matter the odds. Sarai, welcome to Native Wings Like an Eagle.
Thank you.
It's definitely an honor for me to have you here on this podcast because I met you about a year ago through a telephone conversation, and in that time we've come to meet each other in person, and you've also helped us out in several ways with our organization. But what I want to do is I want to be able to allow you to first and foremost just kind of tell us more about who you are, what you do, and some of the ways that people can be able to know more about you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Sarai Cook, I'm a citizen of the Muskogee Nation. My tribal town is Taptaco Tribal Town, ceremonial ground and church. Our Wild Onion dinner is this Saturday.
Oh man, that's
It'll
right.
be a gooder. So, it's a long and wide. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready
long and
for it.
windy story.
I am ready for it.
So my dad was in Vietnam, and after Vietnam, he got out of Vietnam and he started hitchhiking around the country, and he ended up working at a crisis center where he met my mother. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it was a full-on relationship, but anyways, there she is, pregnant with me. He had already went back to Oklahoma and got into the ministry. So my dad is a United Indian Methodist pastor, even just regular pastor and Methodist pastor as well. And so my mom was 17 at the time. She had her first child when she was 15, and that was my brother. Got her leg burned really bad and wasn't able to take care of him. So he was adopted. And then she had me, and then she had my sister, and then my sister was also adopted. So I'm actually the only one that was raised by my mom. I went into foster care early. I went and stayed with my dad for a while, and then my mom came and picked me up. I went into foster care at 3 and kind of bounced around from different homes until I was about 8 or 9, and then went back with my mom at that time. My mom was about a year sober, clean and sober. She was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and so she's been sober ever since. I'm very proud of her.
Yes.
And I didn't know at that time what that meant to be a year sober. I thought, hey, you're sober, like you're good, but a year sober is nothing in the grand scheme of what sobriety is. And then dealing with, with me and my special needs of, having gone through all the trauma that I went through and being in different homes. So I ended up, did well for a few years, but right around 12, 13 years old, I guess I kind of just gave up on trying because I've been diagnosed with ADHD and post-traumatic stress disorder and also autism spectrum disorder. And they didn't really know what that was at that time. So they just thought I was a bad kid. And I knew deep inside me that I wasn't a bad kid. I just wasn't able to wasn't able to sit still. I wasn't able to just listen. I wasn't able to, all these, I could not do it. And so I just got tired of it, and I totally rebelled and ended up started getting locked up at that time. I think I was locked up the first time at 13. And so went in and out of juvie. It kind of became like this comfort zone for me. I felt safe there. I knew it was very structured. I knew what to expect. My friends were all there. The school wasn't hard. We weren't really expected to do much. I love to read. Even at that age, I would read a whole book a night. I could read, I think when I was in the 6th grade, I had a 12th grade reading average. So I just would sit there and read. I could be in my own world. I knew what to expect. I felt safe. I didn't have to go and steal food and, the things I had to do when I was out. And so if I think back on it, the incarceration system, the juvenile justice incarceration system probably saved me from a lot worse things that could have happened to me.
Yep. Listening to your story right here, it kind of, that when I think about what you're going through, kind of reminds me of, I had so much of the same kind of experience, but mine was in Indian boarding schools. I was sent to Indian boarding schools when I was younger because my mother and father had 7 kids, and living in a little town called Wetumpka, didn't have very much availability of good employment to really raise that kind of family. So my parents would send us to boarding school. And then, boarding school, I hate to say it, was a precursor of me getting prepared to go to prison for 38 years like I did. But again, your experience, what you're talking about, and again, what they diagnosed you with and not knowing how to treat that right there, I'm sure was very hard on you because, you're like, this is me, I know who I am, and I wish somebody would understand me better, and when they couldn't do that, then, that's really hard on a kid. But, you come through that, and so as you got into your later years of coming out of your teenage years, where did you go from there?
So when you're a young lady and you don't have a lot of family and you're basically on the streets, there's basically 2 things you can do. You can get sex trafficked, or you can start selling drugs. So I started selling drugs, and I'm not proud of the fact that I sold drugs, but I am happy that it happened to me, and I know it happened for a reason, because it gave me some stability. Prior to that, I was stealing cars and breaking into houses and stealing from stores and whatever I needed, and so it gave me a little bit of stability, and I was like, okay, there's another life. There's a life where you have resources, you have regular food on the table, you have a way to buy clothes, you have, and it's like, it showed me that that's the life that I wanted, that I really wanted, and that's what I wanted to strive for. So my turnaround didn't happen like in my young adulthood. It kind of happened when I got out of prison. So I went into prison at 24 and got out at 25 on accident. It was an accident. But I think if I would have done any more time than that 1 year, because I was already getting institutionalized, even from that 1 year, because I had all those prior years of being incarcerated. And I think just getting out and having, after having that experience, I was like, this is not what I want for myself. I want something better for myself. And I just didn't know how to get it. And so that's where education really came in. Because when you pursue an education, you get Pell Grant funding. You can get food stamps. I was in low-income housing, so all my basic needs were met. And so I was able to just focus on studying. And I loved it. I wish I would have been able to go to college in the 6th grade. I would have probably done amazing. Because it was just the freedom to take the classes I wanted to take, and to learn about the things I wanted to learn about, and to be around people, kind of, but you're not in a classroom every day, all day with the same people, and it gets annoying. So I could do it for those small spurts of time when I would go to class. So I was like, I want to do this forever. And even getting out of prison, I wanted to just say that I went to the Native American Recovery Association when I got out, and I was on post-prison supervision. If I would have messed up in those 3 months when I got out, I would have done my entire 5 years. So it was critical, those 3 months, that I was in a safe place. I was in a Native space. I felt cared about. I felt a bond that I don't think that I would have felt at anywhere else. I felt a sense of belonging. I felt, all these things that I really needed, especially at that time. And so I was able to, complete my 3 months and stay out and not have to do 5 years. And, that was really key, because those are critical. That's a critical time to get those supports set up. So to get into the low-income housing, to get my food stamps set up, my health care set up, that was a really key time that this resource that we have in our communities was there for me, and I was able to I have friends now that I made then. And so it's just really important because I felt cared for. And I went to Portland Community College, graduated from there, University of Portland, and then I went to UMKC Law School. And all of those had their own challenges, but now looking back, I see each was preparing me for that next step. So I'll just say law school is filled with people at my law school, and I think a lot of law schools, they're the best of the best. Mm-hmm. They generally come from money. Their parents are judges and lawyers and politicians, so they grew up around it. They know, how to talk the talk, how to walk the walk, how to flourish in that environment. And so prior to law school, I went to this really nice, expensive Catholic university. And so just the kind of the coldness from there and the disconnect from there, but I got through it, helped me to get through law school, because I'm like, I know what's going on here. You just find my little crew of people of color, and then stay there and just don't worry about all this other noise, and don't let it deter me from my goal, which was to graduate from law school and work for my tribe.
Yeah.
And that was really important for me.
And that's so awesome, because it has led you today to where you're at now, with your own law firm. Mm-hmm. To me, you're definitely an inspiration, because not only from where you've come from to where you are right now, but also being a tribal member, really breaking that ground. I feel really breaking that ground, because you hardly ever see that many Native women with the standing that you have right now. Tell us a little bit about the work you're doing right now.
So right now I'm only working on 3 cases, but I have 21 clients within those 3 cases. So I'm working on, actually, 2 of my cases are in Washington State. I'm licensed to practice law in Washington State. I'm licensed to practice law here in Oklahoma. So I have 2 civil cases there and then 1 criminal case here. And I'm really learning a lot about the litigation process. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just got thrown in it. And I guess Creator thought I was ready. And I had the time. So I just threw myself in there. It really, because I've always worked in government, in nonprofit, in training and development and management. I haven't been a litigator, and now I am. And some of the, one law firm that's the opposing party right now, they're one of the best Indian law firms in that state. And then on my other case, I'm representing 4 Native women that were discriminated in their employment. So, and I have 2 law firms that are opposing in that case. The one case is, so there's an Indian school in Washington called the Wahilu Indian School, and it's a tribally controlled school. There's a community that is supposed to govern that school, and it's called the Franks Landing Indian Community. And then there's the school administration with the school board. Well, they kind of got separated, and the community was supposed to govern. And when they stepped up and said, we want to govern, we want to make a change here, and tried to do that, a lawsuit was filed against 15 defendants. So I'm representing all 15 defendants currently. Most of them I'm representing pro bono, and then a few of them are paying me, and I really appreciate that. But it's, for me, the issue is not, I care about the people. I care about these people. They're good people. And I've been around them, and I went around them, and I sat with them, and I sat up all night with them, and we prayed, and I've done all that. But it's the fact that they're in state court. And that really bothers me, because state court doesn't understand that this is an internal matter, internal tribal matter. They're never going to understand. If we get called by a jury, if a jury comes in and listens, they're never going to understand that this is an internal tribal matter. They won't understand governance disputes, tribal governance disputes. They won't understand just any of it. So what I've been trying to do is get it kicked out of state court. I filed 12B1, lack of subject matter jurisdiction, try to do summary judgment just on the jurisdictional issues, just so many different motions, and the state court is like, nope, we have jurisdiction. I have a problem with that because it sets a bad precedent for Indian country as a whole. And I tell my clients that, I'm like, I'm not gonna litigate this in this state court because they're not gonna understand. So we have to get it out of the state court, and that's my number one mission, to get it out of the state court, to have that it's recognized as Indian country because it is, and that the defendants are recognized for the position and the history and the treaty rights that they have. Mm-hmm. My clients are descendants of the Fish Wars, the Bolt decision, where the state was trying to not let them fish, and they refused. And they come from these strong people that stood up and fought and did not let that happen. And I know that we will prevail because it's the right thing. Mm-hmm. And we will prevail. So I'm excited about that. The other one is to make a point too, with the 4 women that were being discriminated against. The organization that they were working for claimed to be a Native nonprofit. So when they brought the discrimination issues to me, they didn't even know about national origin discrimination. So there's racial discrimination, there's gender discrimination, there's national origin discrimination. And I'll just say about those two. When someone's racially discriminating against you, they're treating you poorly, and they're treating you different than others because of your skin, because of your hair, because of the way you look. National origin discrimination is a cultural discrimination. Mm-hmm. So they're discriminating against you, treating you poorly, wrongfully terminating you because you're saying this, what they're in their case, they're saying, this is not how we do things in our community. You're hiring me, you're putting me out here to do this community development, and I'm telling you this is not the way we do things in our community. And so then they'd get fired. And it's come to find out, it is not a Native nonprofit, it is a non-Native nonprofit with people that are non-Natives saying that they are Natives. Mm. And I was able to determine this and I'm so thankful. Thank you to the Cherokee Nation for being so open about it. And I know they've had a lot of these problems, but all 3 Cherokee Nations sent me letters saying this person is not from us, not a member of our tribe, not a descendant, nothing. And so just even through this is like getting people to understand being Native is not an identity. That's my identity. Being Native is not an identity. It's not an identity. You are, you don't claim it. The tribe needs to claim you. You have to meet citizenship requirements because this is a sovereign nation. You can't be from another country and come here and say you're American. And I can't go and say I'm Canadian. So it's the same thing. And so my big issue with this organization is that, so they're non-natives, they're hiring natives, right, to come in to tokenize them and put them out in the community to get more money, more funding. And when they're saying, hey, this is not how we do this in our community, then they get treated poorly and bullied and then ultimately terminated. And my big thing is this. You and I know, if we want to get services, if we want to go to IHS and get services, we have to show our tribal ID. Mm-hmm. If we want to go anywhere and get services from a Native organization or the tribe, we have to show our tribal ID. And what are we getting? What's it, $100, $500 worth, $1,000 worth of services? These non-Native organizations claiming to be Native are getting millions, and they don't have to prove anything or show anything. Mm. And I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. So that's my big thing, and I want to bring awareness to that. And I want to bring, I just want more awareness around that the state, because the state and counties are like one of their major funders, and even in philanthropy. Check. If they're saying they're a Native nonprofit, that by definition is 51% or more of your leadership. If they're, if they're non-Native and they're non-Native allies or whatever, check, because we have to be checked when we want just the smallest of help.
When I listen to you, the word warrior comes out. Because see, a warrior is not a gender. A warrior is a person. And a warrior, number one, is a person who is spiritual. Number two, a warrior is a person of peace. And number three, and most importantly, a warrior is a person who looks out after their people. You have all three of these attributes. And that's why I'm so honored to be able to not only know you, but to also know that we have a collaboration. I'm so glad that you have come into Native Wings and we have a relationship, and that soon we'll grow in that relationship, because it's your knowledge, your understanding of the way that the things occur in Native country is so important to be represented in those places that don't understand. We got to bring that. We got to bring our leadership. We got to bring our knowledge and our wisdom into that to make things right for our people. And so this is the reason why I wanted to introduce you to our subscribers, to say Sarai Cook is the real thing. She is the real warrior. And I hope that you guys will be able to reach out. Can you give them a way to reach out to you?
Sure. Attorney. So attorney, ATTORNEY at 6 Directions with an S, 6directionslaw.com.
There you go. Absolutely. And so you all know that you can also subscribe on our podcast here, and also go to our website, donate, and look us up at Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just so glad that today's session with Sarai Cook has been very informative to you, and that you will contact her and talk to her if you have any issues concerning your Indian identity or any kind of Indian cause. This is the warrior that you can look to. So I really thank you for being on this broadcast today.
Yes.
And we look forward to the greater things with our relationship. So in the Creek way, we always say when we end this, we say, Hadam Chihijadis. Thank you for watching. Well, it's my hope that you enjoyed the previous episode that we have given to you. And before we leave, I would like to make an important announcement. In May of 2025, there's going to be an event going across this great land called America. And what this event is called is Honor the Tribes Initiative, Moccasins Across America. This event is going to start in May of 2025 and will end in October of 2025. It will begin in California. It'll cross through Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and go into Maryland and then Washington, D.C. This event is going to be one of great significance because it's an event where Native leaders will get together and walk and pray and release the sound of the First Nations upon this land to bring healing, reconciliation, and restoration to this earth that we live on here in America. Many leaders are coming together. As we pass from state to state, we will pass with the handshake of fellowship, knowing that we are all in this together. And when we reach Washington, D.C., the final destination, it's our prayer that we will be able to finally come to a place to where our walk is now going to reverse the curse that was placed on this land when Native nations were moved from east to west to establish this country. And now the First Nations will walk from west to east to reverse that curse and bring the blessings upon this land of America. So we hope that each and every one of you will join us in this monumental event. In order to find out more information, you need to go to sacrednationrises.org and find out just exactly more information on this event. You can go there, you can sign up as a walker, you can sign up as a volunteer, you can sign up as a driver, you can sign up to help out whatever way you need to help out. So please go to sacrednationrises.org and read about this Honor the Tribes initiative, Moccasins Across America, and get involved. Let's all do this together in the name of Christ.